Safe. You can actually too late now. I was gonna bring you up, give you some shout out for introducing us to LUKSO, but you missed your chance. I've just sent an invite out to Fabian. Now, for anyone that doesn't understand what the ERC-20 protocol is, you probably shouldn't be in the space. It's kind of a heads up. But yeah, so I've sent out an invite to Fabian. How are you, Fabian?
Hello, good afternoon or morning.
Good afternoon to you. I found out one thing, Fabian. When I do interviews and I over prep, I realized that about 3 weeks ago and today. So today I did an interview and I did one 5 weeks ago, face-to-face interviews, not excluding spaces. When I over prepare, it just doesn't turn out as good as when I prepare, like just mildly prepare and just go with the flow and just make it inquisitive and just ask what I like to know instead of thinking about what the audience likes to know. It turns out to be, it just works out a lot better. So this is what I did today, man. I've got questions. My team wrote questions, so I deleted those. You guys sent me questions. I read those, and then I deleted them. So, yeah, look, I wanted to first introduce you as the creator of ERC-20. I think you're really early in Ethereum. I think got involved in 2015, and you created the protocol that allows us all to operate in this ecosystem. So you were there during the DAO hack, which it's funny enough. A lot of people now in crypto, like, let me know in the comments who knows about the DAO hack. If I say DAO hack, if you know what that is, you're an OG in the crypto space. If you don't, well, it just shows you that crypto's been around for too long. Um, but you were there back then as well. So this is more of a one-on-one chat. I brought up Safe as well, who helped us, introduce us together. He works with us. K2, he helps me co-host a lot of spaces. So I brought him up, and I brought up Bubble, who's just a close friend, and he analyzes a lot of tokens as well. So they might have questions as well, but I'll probably hog the mic most of the time, Fabian. Um, can you just tell me more about what got you in crypto, but very briefly? Because what I really want to focus on is crypto today versus crypto, what you expected crypto to be when you created the ERC-20 protocol that allowed us all to be in the space.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to speak here, Mario, by the way. I mean, it's a kind of a funny story. I mean, the question that you're asking, like, what's crypto, today versus it changed a lot, I mean, since the early days and since I've been there. But what brought me into crypto is basically the fact that, like, very early on, I just read, okay, somebody wants to sell a house in Bitcoin, and I thought, okay, who wants to sell his house in something that I never heard of? I went down. It was March 2013. I went down the rabbit hole. I realized, okay, like that tech is like revolutionary. Like you have money that is not owned by a single person. It's the network doesn't seem to be hackable. I didn't fully understand it at the time, but it was kind of like the frenzy. It was March 2013. The price went from $10 to $260 in a month. Like there was suddenly a lot of buzz about this idea. At least, there was the first kind of like buzz wave, I guess.
What was the buzz about exactly?
I mean, really just Bitcoin, like, because there was this currency coming out of nothing, and suddenly it's,
Oh,
it had like,
you're talking about Bitcoin's price being ten
yeah, yeah,
dollars. Like, well, okay,
yeah,
early,
yeah, yeah,
early, early days. All right, cool.
yeah, March 2013. That was literally back in the day. That's when I got, hold of Bitcoin, and that's when, like, there was only Bitcoin at the time, right? And then I just realized, over like, this year, then in 2013, that this technology is revolutionary. And then all the other altcoins that literally just happened literally 2 months later. Like then Litecoin popped up and all the other altcoins popped up. People thought, okay, if Bitcoin can do this, I can just make a copy and change something and make a better Bitcoin, and I can start the whole thing again. And that's kind of started the altcoin wave, as we know it in simple
Yeah. So,
terms.
so, so, um, can you explain how the world was like? How was Bitcoin perceived when it was back at $10?
I mean, I guess people were kind of like a bit, shocked that there's like a money that can appear from somewhere and has the ability to uh, be global money and challenge the dollar, if you will. I think like this was just like unthinkable. I mean,
Did
you
you?
have to
But did you actually believe that when Bitcoin was $10? Did you believe that this has the? Be honest. Did you really believe that this has the potential
Oh,
to
absolutely.
displace the US dollar. You thought that
No,
back
no, no,
then.
not the US dollar. No, no, no. I mean, I knew that this tech is going to change the world. I mean, I knew that this we never had the ability that uh, people can just create money and transact globally without that it needs an intermediary and without that it needs to have a king or a government or whatever institution that is in charge and tells you this is the money and that's what you're going to use and this is how it works and that are the rules. It's for the first time that just a network spun up. People said, hey, here we use this network and you can use it to transact. And nobody was in the middle that was needed to control the system. That was never there before. And it kind of with ERC-20 that did the same thing, just that it hyper democratized it because now
Yeah,
everybody could just create a token and you didn't even need to
that
launch a
was
blockchain
yeah.
for it, right?
That's another. Just first, I like the concept that you believed that this could change the world back when it was $10. Um,
Oh yeah,
it just
everybody
it's
in the
funny.
early
Like
days did, I guess. Yeah.
I know. It's like you guys do. It's fucking believe to assume you didn't sell your Bitcoin. Believe to have made the money you guys have made being in the space at $10. You were crazy enough to believe in the technology when everyone else thought you were crazy. Even when I came in 2015, when I first saw it in 2015, I'm like, yeah, this is blockchain is great, but Bitcoin. Remember the old days. Bitcoin is just, it's the first one. It's the innovator. Something's gonna happen. 51% attack, etc., and won't be there in a few years' time. But blockchain is here to stay. And I was even a believer in centralized blockchains as a starting point before going into full decentralization.
Oh wow.
Boy, was I wrong. Yeah, exactly. Like I was very like I just didn't expect it to move that quickly. And it's not stupid to think so. I believed in the technology. I just did not believe that Bitcoin will survive, and I did not believe that decentralization will get there so fucking quickly. And here we are. Um,
Yeah.
all right. So you went Bitcoin in $10, and then how did you meet Vitalik? And tell us about the early days of Ethereum, because I kind of want to get through the history, the early days. I think a lot of people are fascinated by this. We haven't revisited it in the show for a long time, and then I want to get into the state of the market today, and of course, talk about what you're doing with LUKSO.
Yeah, so I mean, what happened is basically I was fascinated. I was following the whole thing through. I was, like trying to understand it. Honestly, it took me a year to even fully conceptualize how it works because it worked so different. We are all used to this idea that you have a server and a website and there's somebody is in charge. It's the admin of the company, and we understand this concept now. Like and they're still kind of hard to understand for many people, but we kind of understand that there's somewhere a server and I have my phone here or my website and the stuff somewhere is here. In Bitcoin, when there is no server, right? There's lots of servers, and you ask who's in charge and how does it work, and this whole thing of how is the consensus found in this network, and it was really confusing. I mean, I always like to compare this. When you explained Bitcoin back in the day, people didn't get it, and now it's kind of everybody thinks like I kind of get it, but it's still a kind of it's very different, how we are used to work or how things used to work. So what happened is I kind of followed this. I was really interested, but I was working, as a web developer. I actually got into web development when I was 14, but studied media design and, was always kind of interested in obviously tech, everything that is cutting edge tech. And in 2015, no, 2014, I knew Ethereum will launch. I mean, I read the white paper and I was excited about it. And, I thought this was really novel because back in the day, there was Mastercoin. I'm not sure if you ever heard about
Of
Mastercoin,
course I
but
do Mastercoin. Of course I do Mastercoin. I know
yeah,
Mastercoin.
the days of the Mastercoin. This is
Yeah.
today it's called Omni, and basically there was this idea. Okay, let's use the Bitcoin blockchain, and instead of creating another blockchain, we use the Bitcoin blockchain, and we write in stuff into these transactions that we then use to create another kind of colored coin. They called it.
Colored coin. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Colored coin, like the early NFTs type
Yeah, the
assets.
early
Like
tokens, basically. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
And
The
that
early
wasn't. Oh, no,
tokens.
no. It was a fungible token. Sorry, it wasn't an NFT. It was a
Yeah,
fungible
yeah,
token. So
exactly,
essentially, the way to oversimplify it is like essentially color coins, and then you create your own coin on the Bitcoin ecosystem. But it was just
exactly.
it's not feasible for obvious
I
reasons.
mean, yeah. So the fun, yeah, fun fact, they made the first ICO actually because they sold the Mastercoin, as the first kind of their token. Just people later realized there was no purpose for it, and then the thing plummeted. What happened is that inspired actually Vitalik, and it was also really interesting for me. I was quite fascinated by it, by this idea. And then Vitalik said, okay, but if you can write something into Bitcoin blockchain, why we don't make a full-on kind of little computer, like a virtual machine, and write that into the Bitcoin blockchain actually that he wanted to do initially, so you can do anything and not just a colored coin, right? You can just like program whatever you like. And that was 2014. So
Yeah, so 2014 is what. Yeah, so Mastercoin was launched in 2013. It was like the first ICO, the first initial coin offering, and then what so Vitalik was pretty fascinated. He was a Bitcoin believer,
yeah, I
Bitcoin
mean we
maxi,
all
and
were, I guess, at the time.
exactly, Bitcoin was everything. It was nothing else. And then he loved the concept of colored coins, but then the Bitcoin community didn't really give him much love. That which kind of led him to launch Ethereum, correct?
I mean, actually, what led him to launch Ethereum was, World of Warcraft. That's what he says. I mean, he basically played World of Warcraft. I think there's something happened and they deleted his character, and he got so pissed because he spent like, weeks, months, whatever, to build up that character. And then he thought, well, there should be something else, and I think I'm not sure. He probably was already into Bitcoin at the time, and then he thought, okay, why we don't make some generic computation on top of a blockchain? And that's when he came up with the concept of Ethereum. And he wrote that white paper. And there was a few people, Jeffrey Wilker and Gavin Wood, who liked the idea. And then they started building the first implementation of the nodes. And this is kind of like was before my time. So this is how they kind of gathered. And I followed it. I found it interesting. I wanted to kind of be part of this, but I worked, in a company. I had a kid. I couldn't just go work at some random blockchain startup, that doesn't make money. I needed to, have a proper job. So, but what happened is in 2014, I met these guys in Berlin because there was an opening of a co-working space, and I met some people from Ethereum, and I knew I could help out in that because I wrote a book about Meteor.js, a JavaScript framework. So I was a web developer. I knew how to build full stack web applications. I just knew this was kind of useful for this. And I met these guys, and they were like literally one day before the ICO. Next day, they launched the ICO. I participated because obviously I was following it and I was excited. And then they kind of like, went off out of my radar and trying to set up the foundation, whatever they did. And then fun fact, then I got a recruiter email saying, "Hey, Ethereum, the company, is looking for for a C++ developer," which I'm not, but I'm not sure if you know recruiters, they don't know shit, so they just like find anyone in LinkedIn that has something with software written on. I don't know. They found me. Fun fact. So that really told me, okay, wow, they're looking now. So then I went to the office, and they had an office in Berlin. And I talked to Aaron there, and he sent in the chat around, hey, you have this guy that can do full stack applications, blah blah. And interesting at the same time, someone within Ethereum, Alex van der Sande, had the idea to build a Web3 browser on top of Ethereum. And that was before the network launch, by the way. That was 2014, yeah, November 2014. And he wanted to build this Web3 browser, and they needed someone that could help, doing this. So, and then they heard about me, a full stack guy, wrote a book, blah blah. He could
That was
probably
well.
help.
Sorry, they're talking about launching, so that's well before Ethereum's launch. So
Yeah,
you're
that
talking
was
about
around
24.
eight months before the launch, exactly. But they already formed, right? They already made the ICO. They had now kind of money, and they tried to,
How much did
you
they
know,
raise in the ICO again?
They raised around 18 million. It was the biggest decentralized or biggest crowd fund ever, I think, at the time. I don't know how many bitcoins there was, 3,000 or 6,000. I don't remember anymore. Oh no, it was 18,000 bitcoins. I'm not sure. It was yeah, it was 18,000 bitcoin or something like this. 30 million.
And they
I'm not
sold
100%
60
sure.
million. They sold 60 million ETH.
I mean, they sold pretty much almost everything. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was about, I mean, it was literally, yes, it was starting the network decentralized. So that was before the concept of ICOs and before the
Yeah,
concept
yeah.
of rug pulling and, before all of this, what comes
Yeah,
after
so
that.
so
So
based on the current, I don't know what the price is, but you're looking at over $100 billion.
It was
That's the
13. It
initial.
was 13 cents at the time.
Yeah,
So
13 cents.
correct.
But I'm saying that 60 million ether that they sold, it's worth over $100 billion today.
Yeah,
That's mental.
easily.
And was there any lockup periods back then
No, 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 no,
with the
no.
vesting
The
schedule?
way it works, you send Bitcoin, and you got back. You were then in these Bitcoin transactions to this address, and from that they generated the Genesis block that then had your address in it, with your portion. So and that's how it started. So my address, literally my contribution to the ICO is inside the Genesis as well,
Yeah.
because I was part of the
How much did
ICO.
you how
So
much did you contribute?
I think I bought 3 Bitcoin at the time. I Yeah,
Very small
something like
investment.
this. I mean, like, learn, trust me, like, nobody is holding did held his crypto for all that time,
Yeah.
except they lost their hard drive on a trash site. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like, things go up and down. Everybody's doing stupid decisions and smart decisions, and even the early guys. I mean, like, like, I don't think everybody, bought at like $10 Bitcoin, held it all the way through. I don't think that's a thing.
So tell us more about the launch and the hack. You've been through it all. So when Ethereum
Yeah.
listed, so you were creating that kind of browser. So you were creating a browser on Ethereum. You guys were very, very, very early, before Ethereum was launched back in 2014. So you guys had the vision early on. Now
Oh
we're going
yeah.
to get, and we're going to get to the ERC-20 protocol, which allows, for anyone listening, it's the protocol that allows you all to launch all these shit coins and create all these altcoins and build all these projects. That's because of the ERC-20 protocol. It's going to tell you how important that protocol is to the ecosystem. So you owe a big thank you to Fabian and the rest of the team. But Fabian, just taking a step back, can you go through the launch of Ethereum? How was it? How was the listing? How was the sentiment? What did the price do before the hack?
So basically what happened is, I then went into, like, starting there, and we built the Mist browser. It's called the Mist browser, and the idea was to build a decentralized web browser, so that we can show how the apps work, right? So, and that people can realize, okay, how a decentralized application work, and we needed a browser for this. So you're running a node, and you have this browser, and you can run these apps. They use the Ethereum smart contracts as the backend, as the server, and you can do all of this stuff. So we built that out, and it was also the first wallet of Ethereum. It was called the Mist wallet. People called it the Mist wallet. Um, and what happened is, we built it out, and the network launched in July 31st, 2015. And you basically had now, Ethereum starting with basically infinite possibilities of what you can build on top of it. And we had the first kind of browser, or it was really a lot more the wallet with a simplified version of the browser. Um, and then people started to experiment, but it was also early. So the people that we had back in the day, they were technology people, right? The developers, the people who wanted to play around, that followed this tech for a while. It was not the mainstream, or your ordinary person,
Who are the investors in Ethereum in the ICO? Who are the guys that bought it at 10 cents? Was it all just geeks, or was
Yeah,
there many VCs or financial people there as well?
geeks. It was
Oh,
basically pretty much like nerds. It was the people that were really early on following Bitcoin. I mean, there's for sure some smart, bigger investors and bigger funds. In fact, one was Joseph Lubin. Joseph Lubin
yeah.
created later Consensus. He was, I think, an investment banker before. He put a bit of a bigger money
No,
into
but
Ethereum.
he still fits into the geek category as well. He's very,
I
very
mean,
geeky.
yeah,
Joseph
he
is
totally is geeky, but I mean, he is also, from that banking world, or at
he is,
least
yeah.
he's been there. So, absolutely, yeah, he's geeky, but he was really, well, I think he was one of the bigger guys.
Mm.
But on the end, you already had kind of whales, let's say, that made some money in the year before, in the 2 years before of crypto.
Are
I mean,
you
it
are you
was.
close? Are you still close to a lot of the people in the early days?
I mean, not super close. I mean, obviously I know them, and when I'm at conferences, I meet them again, and we say hello, and obviously we know each other. But everybody is quite busy with their work, so this is
I
this
can't wait.
is
I can't wait to ask you about what you think of crypto today, the
oh
ecosystem
man.
today, and how that compares to what you expect. It's gonna be my favorite question. But before getting there, the hack happened in 2016, a year after launch. Tell us
Exactly.
more about the
So
DAO hack. I don't know how the fuck Ethereum survived that, so I'm just curious to know what
yeah.
happened behind the scenes in those days and what were you doing in those days.
Yeah, maybe let me go one step before, because what happened before was ERC-20. In
Oh,
November
ERC-20,
2000.
ERC-20 was before that. You started working on it before the hack.
So basically, what happened is we basically launched a chain, right? July, end of July, August. And then people were playing around. We were working on the wallet. I was working on developer tools and other things that were necessary to really just working on making it developer friendly, usable. But at the same time, people wanted to do, they thought about, okay, we can make tokens, or colored coins on such a network. So how should that work? And then Vitalik came up with like an early draft of some ideas of how like a token could work, and how other kind of things work, like your name system and other things. And he posted this in our wiki page. So everything was open source. That means we work kind of like in the open in a way. In GitHub, you can just contribute and discuss. And there were like chats. I think it was GitHub chat or Skype, or what we had Skype internally, and then we just debated, and so we had this discussion about like this idea that Vitalik proposed there how the token could work. So we were a few people discussing around it, and then I thought, okay, that's not really the right place here. We need to kind of ask the community what they think, the bigger community, and really get some feedback. So there is this process called in the World Wide Web called RFC, request for comment, for standardization. So I just thought, okay, let's call it Ethereum request for comment, and we just put that in this other place called the Ethereum improvement proposals, and we just get like feedback, and then we come up with some standard. So that was my idea. So I created an issue. It was the issue number 20, because GitHub gives you just upper counting numbers, right? It was just issue number 20. I called it Ethereum request for comment, was the number 20. So it was just Ethereum request for comment number 20, ERC-20, right? Um, and I put the spec there, and I changed it a bit up, and then we had a proper place to discuss. So what happened is we discussed, people, already started using it, and pretty quickly, people just realized, okay, this is a good way to do it. So everybody just started using the same. And within months, people started creating tokens, because all you needed to do is now deploy a smart contract on Ethereum rather than launching a whole new
But what
network.
was what was your vision? Sorry, just when you launched ERC-20, what did you expect to happen? Because it just
Um,
doesn't seem to be like when you're building. It's not like I'm gonna build this, and there's gonna be $20 billion worth of tokens built on that. There's gonna be people launching dog with hat that reaches $1 billion market cap on there with
yeah.
no utility whatsoever. There's gonna be all these different L2s as well to allow more projects to be built and allow things to be faster. Doesn't seem like you planned that accordingly.
That was not planned at all. I mean, to be fair, we had ideas of like token could be done, NFTs, the idea that you can, identify physical objects or like make some digital objects linked, and even that you can have, proper decentralized accounts, and all of these ideas were there. But I mean, I think none of us would have assumed that, first that it blows up so quickly and so crazy, specifically the ICOs. That's the first thing that blew up, and that we are now in literally the crazy land of useless coins, is absolutely
You think meme
unbelievable.
coins? What would you say meme coins? How would you, you already said useless coins. So what's your stance? I always get scared to bring up meme coins to anyone that was there in the early days. I feel like if you were in front of me, you'd try to stab me somehow. But what is your genuine take of meme coins? Do you think they have any future as a concept of a decentralized community, or is it purely another form of pump and dump in your opinion?
I mean, obviously, it always depends on the people behind it, number one. But in fact, the idea, so look, I think this goes more into a philosophical question. I think on the end, what we are as humanity right now realizing is that anything can have value, right? And that it's up to us what we want value to have value, what it can be. we're also realizing that these tokens can be a form of, engaging community, for working as kind of connective glue between communities and people. And we're just really, it's an experimentation phase. It's an experimentation with a lot of money, a lot of crazy stuff. Um, I mean, I created, for example, a token in before I created ERC-20. The first ERC-20 I created, right? I just deployed one. I called it Mistcoin, obviously because of the Mist browser, and I just created this token, deployed it on mainnet. We used it for testing in the wallet, and just recently, like I think a year ago, I spread it then over the years because people wanted to have it as a collectible. Like, okay, I sent here, I sent there, some for free, just because it never had a purpose and never was supposed to have a purpose. And now people took on Mistcoin, and I don't know, they wrapped it into a wrapped Mistcoin so it can be traded on Uniswap, and they're using it as a collectible, and that
Hold
was
on. Sorry,
never a
sorry?
thing,
Just missed. I know. I didn't know about this. Mist. Is that Mist? MIST?
Yeah. I mean, I like based on that Mistbrow, the first Ethereum wallet. Yeah. Mistcoin, exactly. Yeah.
MI or MY?
MIST, like mist, like the fog, the
Yeah.
dust.
Yeah. So and the logo is
Which,
like a
by the way,
yellow
but which,
M.
by the way, fun fact: in German, mist means cow dung, which literally translates then to shitcoin, which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, it's not crazy. Look again. Dog with hat will prove to you this is not crazy. But sorry, Mistcoin is the one with the yellow M.
No. It has this Ethereum symbol. It's an Ethereum symbol with
Ah,
like an
okay.
iceberg
Is it?
inside.
I was just checking on. Oh, there it is. Hold on.
It's pretty much it's pretty
Mist.
much the first ERC-20 that ever existed. Because I made it even 2 weeks before I proposed the
How
standard,
many?
and
How
and
many did
and
you mint? There it is. How
I
many did
think
you mint?
900,000 or something, or 500,000 million. I don't remember. Some 500,000 or something, I guess.
You lost the first ERC-20 token ever. You don't know how many minted. I don't think you understand
I mean, I could
how
look it up.
historic
'Cause, I
this is.
mean,
I'm looking at the old photos of you guys. I'm looking at old photos. If you go to misteth.com, I swear it's literally as you'd expect it to be in a movie. It's like you guys are sitting on the table just messing around with your $5 t-shirts and your whiteboards, and just you created something. It's like a behemoth now, allowing people
that's how it
to
goes.
make millions on a daily basis. It is insane how this ecosystem works. I'm trying. Okay, I found the contract address. There it is. Etherscan. Okay, perfect. All right, I've got the contract address, so I can find
in
more things on it. All right, cool. So we know about. While I check out Mist Coin, because I was trying to find out a coin market cap, but I couldn't, so I'll just check it out.
I
But
mean,
so you yeah, go ahead. Tell me more about it, and then I want to kind of dig into
I mean,
the dark side of
Mistcoin
the DAO hack.
is never meant to have any purpose, right? Okay, this is sincerely just a historical thing on the end, and was
And
just meant for
it's got
testing.
a
So
it's got a $2 million, $2.5 million market cap. So it's still. Let
yeah,
me see. It was even high. You don't seem too happy with that. You seem like disappointed in that. Why are you disappointed? Your coin you created. Wow, it was 20 million
because I
market
do
cap.
try. I mean, I
It
care
was
about the
80
real
million.
things, you know.
It
I
was
mean,
almost 70 million market cap. Not bad. Well, now you are building with LUKSO, which is really what you're building. I know that first where LUKSO is a partner of ours. I think we're invested with LUKSO. What you're building is incredible there. But there's more of a. So there's a project that you're building. The person that created the ERC-20 is building an incredible project that's kind of built on the whole
the actual
concept of
tech
social.
Mistcoin took me like half an
Exactly.
hour. So
Okay, okay. But the timing of it is what matters. And getting a
yeah,
7
yeah.
million, 70 million market cap in 2024. It was
Yeah,
70
I mean,
million
people
market.
like people just like this is run by the community. I mean, I obviously still have a big stash. I mean, I just never touched it. People ask me to freeze this now in a contract or something. Um, yeah, that's definitely you need to consider that. Everybody who is considering buying it, please use your brain. Um, but it's on the end. Yeah, I think I have less than half or so, in case somebody was wondering. Um,
Mario, please send me the contract and have a look.
Yeah, I'll send you now, Bubble. I'll send you. You can take it there. All right. So tell me more about the the DAO hack. Some people might not even remember what that is. That's how old crypto is.
Yeah, that's a story. So basically, what happened is ICOs blew up. Like literally a few months after ERC-20, people realized anybody can just make a a token. They don't need to make a blockchain anymore. So like everybody came up with some kind of idea of what kind of token they could make, and then
You
they tried to
created, you
like
created, you created a monster, Fabian. You created a monster.
yeah. That's what happened. Yeah. I mean, so basically, what happened is that basically people realized, oh, so before I go to a VC, I can just create a token, right? And some had really good ideas of what these tokens can do in a decentralized ecosystem. Others had less good ideas. It's very, very hard to find a useful purpose for a token. The only purpose for a token that I certainly know exists and makes sense is a blockchain native token, because you cannot remove that purpose. Like a blockchain without the token doesn't function. You remove Bitcoin from Bitcoin, the thing doesn't work. You remove Ether from Ethereum, the thing wouldn't work. So this is a necessity, and that's why exactly why all the top 10 projects you have, yeah, are pretty much blockchains, because this is the most safe kind of crypto asset, if you will, call it an asset, because it's
The
needed.
most, the easiest thing to understand the utility of.
Yeah, exactly. It has clear utility. The rest, all the other things, then it's about experimentation. It's about like, you can use tokens for a form of like community, like meme coins, right? But you can also use it in a protocol where it's some kind of a necessity, as a staking or whatever. God knows, what people can make up. Anything can be made up in this sense. So we are really about to figure this stuff out. Still, actually, years later now, years later. So what happened is people invested in ICOs. They all went crazy. There was billions of dollars in ICO. I don't know what the top peak was. I guess it was multiple billions, 5, 10 billion, whatever. People put in ICOs. The biggest ICO that I know was EOS with 4 point something billion, just a single one. But also shows money doesn't equal success, because nobody knows EOS anymore. Maybe they went and bought an
EOS,
island.
how much did EOS raise? Like, listen, listen to
Yeah,
these
4
guys.
billion something plus, actually.
There's a project that launched, guys, in the not last cycle, but the one before, over $4 billion. Like, what was you created the technology for EOS to raise $4 billion? How
Yeah.
what went through your mind when you saw the shenanigan?
I mean, I thought it was just stupid. I mean, to be honest. I mean, because it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it makes no sense, because if the thing raises five, and also, in the early days, market caps were not as high as they are today. So 4 billion, that means was already totally oversold. And they did that, by the way. You know how they did that? They basically had a continuous ICO ongoing for a year, and you guys can continuously participate. So, and that's exactly why it just grew, and yeah, yeah, that's what happened. So actually,
It hit a market cap of 10 billion in 2018. That's EOS.
so
Now
it
sitting at
doubled and in
less
total,
than a
right?
billion.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it didn't really
yeah.
was that much of a success then.
That's double that peak and barely lasted there. Um, I want to ask you more, and obviously we'll touch on LUKSO at the end, but kind of the coolest thing I want to ask you about is, what do you think of crypto today, and what do you think crypto will be by the next cycle?
Oh, I mean, the thing is, I come from the times where tech mattered and people cared about decentralization, and it was driven by vision. And then everything went to do more by business, and then banks got interested, and everybody just saw it as a means of fundraising. And now we're in the cultural, like let's call it the weird corner of culture, using tokens for God knows what. Right now it's just dogs with heads, right? Like fun things was purely about, if you're early you're good, and if you're late then you're not good, which is 90% of the guys. So it's pretty much just a rush thing, right? Who's fast is good, and otherwise they die out. um what's the next thing? And that's really ties into what I'm building right now, because I'm being in there for a very long time, right? So, and I saw the cycles, and I was thinking about what's the problem with the technology, and what needs to happen in the world in general. So I was building exactly that over the last 5 years, building the foundation for making, blockchain and decentralization come to everyone, to become a foundational piece in society at large. And the way you do that is by making it first usable, right? It needs to be less complicated, less less Linux style, where it's about private keys and stuff no one understands, and it needs to become social. You need to have a face. If you don't have, if stuff doesn't feel like it's human, people don't care, right?
You think the anonymity of crypto is gonna be is becoming more of a downside, yeah?
It's on the end, it's one of the features, and it's not so much about like being publicly known you as a person, but it's about identifiability, and that could be even you being a dog with a hat. But if you're a dog with a hat that like does a lot of cool stuff for a long time and people like you and they follow you, then they you have a community. They never need to know who you really are behind it. That's okay. It's about identifiability. It's not so much about exposure of human self behind it in that sense. Could be also a
And that
bot
link,
or an AI that has been doing all of these tweets
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, yeah. Well, then again, I think that the value of bots, intelligent bots, AI powered bots, is a whole different discussion. It's also fascinating. Um,
NPCs. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Um, but I want to wrap it up. You kind of linked it to kind of creating a social. There's a lot we could talk about, but you kind of linked it to creating an identity on the
Pretty
blockchain,
much,
and
yeah.
that's what, and that links to, if anyone wants to know what the founder of ERC-20 is working on, well, LUKSO is your project, something we're invested in. So even though the show wasn't about LUKSO, I think it's just LUKSO. I think if they pronounce it LUKSO would be cooler. I hope that's how you pronounce it, because LUKSO doesn't sound
Both
as good.
ways, I mean, both ways
LUKSO,
work.
LUKSO is nicer.
It's pretty
LUKSO.
international. It actually means luxury in Esperanto. And luxury for me is always, anything above our basic survival, like eating and drinking, sleeping, having a roof is luxury. The fact that we can call across the globe right now is luxury. The fact that we can connect and reorganize ourselves as humanity in new ways is luxury. So that's the luxury here, and we also had,
What
earlier.
is just but I don't want people to confuse. So what is Luxo? Because I know it's not anything to do with luxury. Can you explain what Luxo is? What is the creator of the ERC-20 protocol working on now? What is your passion now?
I mean, in very short terms, I basically cloned Ethereum and wrote new standards, the right foundational standards to start Ethereum with the right foundations. So that's a very, very short version of it. So think of
Okay.
Ethereum, same consensus, same way amount of decentralization possible, because it's the exact same network type, but it has the new building blocks that are more sophisticated, and they are specifically, for decentralized social and literally anything, but it has this kind of usable and human aspect. If people want to check this out, you can go to my Twitter and you can watch that video that's pinned there, and you will probably better understand what a universal profile allows you to do. It literally can allow us to unify our internet account system, which currently obviously is a mess, right? Because if you think about the fact that you have hundreds of accounts and none of them are yours. In fact, even your account, could be like deleted tomorrow by some dude in Twitter, or X, or if Elon Musk, turns 180, whatever. Um, it's exactly what we need for the future digital world. Is we need accounts that are owned by us, and that not only can log into websites and take your information with you and bring it to other places at the same time, but that it also can transact, that you literally can receive and send, and that will be the foundation for a new way of how we can be a society. So that's
Yeah,
my
I
what I'm
think
working on.
for anyone else to check it out, that website is really neat, very nicely done website. It's luxo.network, LUKSO.network.
Oh, there will
I
be a
think
new one. It will be a lot better. Trust me. This is
it's actually
not
good.
the
Whoever
perfect
did it now,
design.
it's actually not bad, and I like the logo. The logo's really neat, unless you're gonna change that too, but I like it.
No, we
And
changed
last
that.
question I have for you, Fabian. Oh, of course you will. But okay, so last question I have for you is, what is your advice to everyone in the ecosystem now? Like, what do you think they're doing wrong, and what could they do better? What is an opportunity that you think is untapped at the moment?
I mean, people need to understand, like what has real value and what has what is a thing that fades, and what is a thing that on the end will be there for a longer time, and why is that, And if you're rushing after the quick gains, then you're also probably, being burned quite fast as well. And it's good fun for a while until it's not anymore. But if we understand fundamentals and we understand what's coming, and what's coming is, in my opinion, a form of a global awakening in which we are already. and people need the right foundations for that, and we need to understand what technology is necessary to support that future humanity that we're working towards. Then you just work and on that, and you use that, and you discover that, and then we can literally just change the game as we know it. And it's about understanding that real tech matters, and if people really want to try things out, they can go create a profile right now. You can go to universalprofile.cloud, LUKSO.network, and click also and create profile, and they can play around with this. But if you're a developer, like that's where it's really fascinating, because all the stuff that universal profiles allow you to do is what I would have loved, and everybody in Ethereum actually would have loved to have in 2015. We didn't have this stuff. This stuff was very early, which was just figuring out how stuff works. Now we got enough time to think it through, to do it right. And there's one advantage if you start a new network, and if you're working a little bit more in isolation on that rather than trying to discuss every little piece with everyone, is you can do it the right way. Think it through and actually spend the time to make the right choices that we on the end have a basis that will be way bigger and allow far more things than what the ERC-20 does. Because ERC-20 was just created on a whim, that was something people wanted, so we thought about it like a few days, and here we are, right? But what happens if you have real time to think things through? And this is exactly what I did the last 5 years. The standard, that is behind this smart contract account, universal profiles, I actually proposed the first version in 2017. That thing would basically, by the way, fill a whole hour just to explain this whole
Yeah, well,
what's played out there as well. And that's fascinating, like, because we are now only in Ethereum starting to debate, smart contract accounts, and all of this is now a thing, in Ethereum, but that I have spent now 5 years already thinking this through, and we built it out, and it's here, and it's now ready to be used. So it's going to be exciting to see what people will build on top of this.
Fabian, I appreciate what you've done for the space. I appreciate for allowing Dog with Hat to exist, for allowing allow us all to build on that beautiful technology on the Ethereum blockchain. So thank you for that, and I appreciate having me on your cap table as well, being part of LUKSO. I think what you're building there is incredible. So it's a great discussion, man. Really appreciate it. Anyone else that wants to learn more about LUKSO, we'll have them on the show again, I'm sure, and you can check them out. Their profiles on stage, and you can just go to LUKSO, LUKSO.network, LUKSO, and check them out. Fabian, it was a pleasure to chat with you. Really appreciate it. And for everyone else, we'll see you again on the next show. Appreciate it, everyone, and thanks a lot. Yes, thanks again, Fabian.
Thank you so much, Mario.